It's our friend Bobby Schilling. He's running for Congress. Bobby, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Great conversation.
Yeah.
Don't lie.
Yeah, come on. You're on the edge of your seat.
Very good.
Where do we find you this morning?
Today we're in Kelowna, Illinois. We're getting ready to meet with a group of our grassroots campaigners to give some direction. And then from there, we're headed in the office, and we're going to continue to make phone calls to raise money to keep our commercials up on air.
I drove a good length of the 17th District last weekend. We were down in Oquawka, Illinois for a family reunion. A lot of Bobby Schilling signage. Took a walk around the neighborhood once we arrived at Oquawka. Saw a couple of Schilling signs.
Did you get all those down?
What, the
signs?
No, I left them up.
Okay.
Hey, now. We've got some great support throughout the district. We're working in the northern part here the next few weeks. But in Peoria, in Rock Island County, we're positioned, I believe, pretty well. You know, the big thing we're doing is we're fighting that outside PAC money, the special interest groups. I think she's going to probably, it looks like they're outspending us about 8-1. But, you know, the thing is that I keep looking at is that, you know, with a bad voting record or a non-voting record, as you might call it, is that she's going to need every penny she can get. So the big thing is we just got to stay up on air, keep our ground troops intact, rolling along, and I think we're going to be pretty successful at the end of the day.
I know you travel about a lot. You want to hear what people have to say. Hit us with the top couple of things that you are hearing from people as you make your tour around.
You know, the big thing that people are begging for is to get people in there that are willing to really go and fight on turning around this middle class. If you look at the last 5 years with this administration, you know, they do a lot of talking about helping the middle class, but they're actually literally crushing out our middle class. And, you know, talk is cheap. It's, you know, what are the ideas to fix this economy? And, you know, they believe it's through more taxing and more regulation. We just had another company, he's got about 45 days left. They're going to be closing down in our Illinois 17th District. You know, we continue to hear more and more companies either closing up permanently or just leaving the state totally. So I think it's about creating an environment. You know, Ms. Bustos, for example, you know, she said she's going to go rein in the EPA. Well, then the vote came to the House floor, and she voted against reining in the EPA. So, you know, we understand business, and we understand that it's all about the environment to not only keep what we've got, but then also attract others into our area.
Bobby Schilling with us here on the program, BobbySchilling.com. That's his website. It's Riley and Scott here on WROK. You mentioned the advertising that's going on. It seems over the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks or so, there's been far more talk in this race about commercials than about issues. I'm sure you don't want it that way, and yet at the same time you feel the need to respond to some of these advertisements. How do you balance those priorities when you go talk to potential voters?
You know, the big thing is what we have sitting in the seat right now is somebody that has their master's in communication. So they know how to put something out to where it's very, very misleading. I'll give you a prime example. When the government shutdown happened, Ms. Bustos came out and says, "Look at everybody, I'm going to forego my pay." Well, then what happened was the government fired back up. We did some research, and we found that she didn't forego 1 penny. But when you look at the definition of forego, it just means, well, while the government shut down, even though we only get paid once a month, I'm not going to take my pay, even though I'm not getting my pay. So, you know, we need leadership. We need a representative, not a misrepresentative. Somebody, you know, when they make a promise of giving back 10% of their pay like she did at the Chicago Tribune, you know, when you make that promise, you keep the promise, but then now she's saying that she misspoke. And just to put that into perspective, guys, it'd be like me coming on the radio station saying, hey, everybody, you know, if I get in there, I'm going to give everybody in the district a free pizza. I mean, and then the election's over, I win, and then all of a sudden it's like, you know, I misspoke, or, you know, I made a mistake, or, you know, I didn't ask Christy if it was okay to do that promise. So this is about integrity. This is about character. This is about principles. And we're missing that, I believe, in the Illinois 17th District.
So do we get a pizza, though, if you win?
You know, I don't think I'd be able to legally do that.
I don't think so either.
All right, we'll cook one and celebrate.
Bobby, there's a real clear comparison to be made, though. When you took office, when you ran for Congress, you promised you wouldn't take the congressional health insurance. You'd stay on your own insurance. And I believe the other promise you made is you wouldn't take part in the congressional pension plan, I believe. And both of those promises you made good on when you were in Congress.
I did, you know, and you know, I was trying to do what my dad taught me as a little kid, is to lead by example. and I kept every one of those promises. Another promise that she made that a lot of people aren't aware of yet is that she promised to end the gridlock in Washington, D.C., and then the very first series of votes that came up for a budget for the United States of America, she voted no, 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 and then present. She actually voted to shut down our government. And the only budget that she actually supported was the one that literally cut and was voted into law $6 billion from our disabled veterans and their families. So that was Joint Resolution 59. The date on that was 12/12 of 2013. Now she's trying to deny that also.
So, kind of a pattern of an expiration date on certain promises.
Exactly. And this is a huge pattern that we're seeing across the board. We just saw that just here a couple weeks ago in the Illinois Quad Cities, just shortly after her election, her husband was anointed in as the Rock Island County under sheriff. Well, then there was a scandal that broke out, and then what happened was they went and they hand-picked him to now be the sheriff. So not only do we have, a huge amount of broken promises, but now we find that 60% of her family actually receive taxpayer-funded tax dollars for payroll. So, this is about her taking care of her family, getting them all jobs, working for the state, working for the county. When I went in there, I had no agenda like that whatsoever, but Ms. Bustos definitely does have that, and I'm sure she's looking at taking Senator Durbin's seat in a couple of years when he retires.
Bobby Schilling with us here. It's Riley and Scott on WROK. So when you get back to Washington, Republicans will have a majority in the House and quite possibly a majority in the Senate, too. So there's an opportunity to put some bills on the president's desk. When you look at the challenges that will be in front of the next Congress, what are 2 or 3 of the most important bills, most important subjects you want to push through to force the president to make a decision on one way or the other?
I think one of the most important is to level the playing field for us here in America and get our corporate tax rate lined up with every other country on the outside. Because if we do that, given the opportunity, you take anybody out there working middle class folks, and if we've got a level playing field, we can compete and beat everybody in the entire world. 95% of our customers are outside of the United States. Another thing we've got to really take a look at, I still hear a lot of complaints, even though the Affordable Health Care Act or Obamacare was going to be free. There's still a lot of people that can't afford their $5,000 or $10,000 deductible. Doctors are still having to give charitable care. We need to really hone in on a way to fix the health care, because that's going to, I believe, bankrupt us if we don't go in there and tweak and fix what's there. Really, what he put together was nothing to do with health care reform. Another thing I'd like to really take a hard look at now, Ms. Bustos has this bring-back tax that she wants any American company that has money sitting offshore from profits that they've made, in India or where have you. She wants to penalize them 35% with this Bring American Jobs Home Act that she put together. It has nothing to do with bringing American jobs back. It has everything to do with penalizing and giving them what we call a bring-back tax of 35%. There's over $2 trillion sitting offshore. If we could inject even half of that into the American economy, it would spur the economy and really get us rolling.
And how about getting a dialogue going overall and maybe a reduction on all of these sorts of things? It's amazing how people are being called out as being non-patriotic and, and scolded and all for trying to return an investment aid to stockholders and maybe perhaps better their company because they're really getting raked over the coals here.
Exactly right. And here's the thing that, Ms. Bustos talks about shipping jobs overseas. Her supporting the Obama agenda ships more American jobs overseas. Deficit Durbin wants to go out there and figure out how we penalize companies rather than going in and saying, hey, what's the root cause as to why people want to leave America? He's unwilling to do that. He wants to be the big bully and show this or that. But the fact of the matter is, is that a problem? Yes, it is. Do we need to address it? Yeah, but, what we've got to do is figure out, hey, what's the cause? Why don't you want to keep your money here and your business here? And once we can address that cause, we fix the problem. But the way he wants to do it definitely won't fix the problem. It'll probably actually entice more folks to leave because of the bullying. Keep in mind, this is the guy that had conservatives across America targeted by the IRS. I mean, this is not something that we do here in the United States, whether it's Democrat or Republican. And that's the way they work. This is the Chicago machine running the United States of America, which is a sad thing.
Bobby Schilling with us here for another minute or two. It's Riley and Scott on WROK. He's running again, the 17th Congressional District, BobbySchilling.com. If you'd like to help. Bobby, you've been out now for the past, almost 2 years, I suppose. When you were in Congress, and perhaps as you've watched from afar a bit now, who were some guys in the House, or gals too, men or women in the House, who you admire, who you think are doing the right things in Congress right now?
You know, my most favorite guy out in Washington, and I really liked him, he's actually from South Carolina, and it's a guy by the name of Trey Gowdy. Trey is just a solid American. He's a guy that the administration does not want investigating Benghazi or any other scandal that these guys have. But he's probably my top guy, just because he says it. He says what he means and means what he says, and he's just a great, solid American. I would say he's definitely at the top of that list.
Bobby Schilling, less than, actually a little bit more, just a bit more than a month to go before Election Day. If people want to help you, help the campaign out, BobbySchilling.com is the place to go on the website. What's the best way they can help you out?
You know, the best thing is just to engage. If they don't like the direction the country's headed, we need your help, because Sherry Bustos is going to continue this Obama agenda and continue to really crash this economy. So the best way they could help is they could get in there and help us knock on doors, make phone calls, and, of course, give money to the campaign by going to our website.
All right. Bobby, as always, we appreciate you taking time out of your day for us.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.